Welcome back to Conversations About Bookbinding from Bookforge in Erie, Pennsylvania. As always, we have the insights and expertise of Edward Patrick Krantz, our bookbinder and restorer.
Glad to be here.
So today we're going to do a deep dive into book care basics. These little things you can do to really take care of your book collection.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a preventative maintenance.
Exactly. So let's start with bookshelves themselves. What about those inexpensive, assemble-yourself bookshelves? Are those really that bad?
Well, you wouldn't build a house on a shaky foundation.
Right.
And those flimsy shelves, they're convenient, but they just can't handle the weight of a growing collection.
Right.
And over time, they can sag, and that causes your books to lean, and then their spines to crack the pages, get damaged.
So you really do want something sturdy. Then what materials are good for bookshelves?
Well, hardwoods are great.
Okay.
Like oak or cherry, they're naturally strong. They resist warping. Metal is another really good option, but it can rust, so make sure it's coated if you do go with metal.
So hardwood, oak, cherry, those are all good. Metal can rust, but what if you're on a budget?
Yeah.
Hardwood can get kind of pricey.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
High quality plywood is a good middle ground.
Okay.
It's really sturdy, can support a good amount of books, and it's much more affordable.
Okay, great. And what about adjustable shelving? Is that something that you would recommend?
Oh, yeah. Adjustable shelving is a lifesaver. As your collection grows, you get different sizes of books. It lets you customize the shelves to perfectly fit your collection.
Oh, so you don't have to cram them in?
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. And so the shelves are important, but what about location? Like where you put those shelves?
Location, location, location.
All right, right.
Imagine your favorite book, faded covers, brittle yellowed pages. That's what sunlight will do.
Oh, no.
Yeah, direct sunlight is really damaging. So the best thing to do is keep your bookshelves away from windows.
Okay.
But if you can't do that, use curtains or blinds to filter that sunlight.
Oh, that makes sense. And why is temperature so important for books?
Well, think of it this way. Your book is like a delicate flower.
Okay.
And if you think about drastic temperature changes, it's like you're blasting it with heat and then sticking it in a freezer.
Oh, yeah.
It's not going to do well. Books are made of organic materials, and those temperature swings can really speed up that aging process.
So no radiators, no fireplaces, no drafty windows.
Exactly.
Got it. Now, I have some really fragile books. Are there any extra tips for those types of books?
Yeah, for those special volumes, you might want to consider a glass-enclosed cabinet.
Oh.
It'll protect it from dust and light, but it also creates this stable microclimate.
A microclimate, what is that?
Yeah, so a microclimate is like a smaller, localized climate within a larger environment. So in this case, it's like a little haven for your books. The temperature and humidity are going to stay more consistent in there.
Oh, that's so cool. So it's like you're creating a little world for your books.
Exactly.
All right, so we got the bookshelves, we got in the right spot. No direct sunlight, temperature controlled. Now what?
Now comes the fun part, arranging your collection.
Yeah, how do you arrange your collection?
Well, a well-organized bookshelf isn't just visually pleasing, it's practical.
Right.
Makes it easier to find the book you're looking for.
Definitely less time searching and more time reading.
Right. So organized by genre, author, or even theme.
Okay, so like all my fiction in one spot, all my biographies.
Exactly. You could even have a shelf dedicated to just your favorite author.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
But what if you like to browse and you're looking for something new?
Well, you can always add a little element of surprise.
Okay.
Have a currently reading shelf or a new arrivals section.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, just to encourage that browsing.
I like that.
Yeah.
A lot of people I know, including myself, are guilty of this. We cram as many books on a shelf as we can. What's wrong with that?
Oh, I saw a first edition Dickens novel completely warped because it had been crammed on a shelf for decades.
No.
It was heartbreaking. So those crammed books, they suffer from pressure from their neighbors, and over time, that causes warping, bending piers.
Wow. I had no idea.
Yeah, so leaving even a tiny bit of space between them allows for air circulation, helps prevent dust buildup.
It can get musty.
Exactly. And it distributes the weight better, so less wear and tear.
So it's like giving your books room to breathe.
Exactly. And speaking of breathing room, those fragile volumes, they need a little extra TLC.
Okay, so let's talk about those fragile books. What do we do with them?
Well, first things first, handle them with clean hands.
Oh.
The oils from our skin can transfer to those pages and cause damage.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, and when it comes to storing them acid-free, Archival boxes are really the gold standard.
Archival boxes. Why those?
Well, they're like little fortresses for your books.
Okay.
They're made from acid-free materials. They're often buffered with an alkaline substance to neutralize any acids that might form over time.
So it's like they're fighting against deterioration.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and they also provide a barrier against light, dust, and fluctuations in humidity.
So it really is like a little time capsule. I like that. Now, we've talked about the environment, the shelving storage. What about our everyday interaction with books? Just handling them. Are there things we should avoid doing?
Absolutely. Small repeated actions can have a big impact over time.
Like what?
Well, like using thick bookmarks can strain the spine, especially in paperbacks.
Oh.
And those sticky notes, their adhesive can damage pages
Eh.
and leave behind a sticky residue.
I'm definitely guilty of both of those.
Yeah, so instead of those thick bookmarks, try a thin piece of ribbon or a simple paper bookmark.
Okay.
And if you need to mark a page, a light pencil dot in the margin is much gentler on the paper.
Oh, good tips. So what about dog-earing pages? Is that really that bad?
Some might say it's a sign of a well-loved book.
Yeah.
But really, it does cause damage. You're repeatedly folding that paper, and it weakens those fibers.
Oh, so it makes it more likely to tear.
Exactly.
Okay, no more dog-earing. I've heard that you should dust your books regularly. Is that really important?
It is. Dust isn't just unsightly. It can be abrasive. And it can attract pests that might want to nibble on those pages.
Oh.
So regular dusting creates a much cleaner environment for your books and helps prevent damage.
It's like giving your books a spa treatment.
Exactly.
So when you're dusting, are there special cloths or products you should use?
A soft, dry cloth is usually all you need.
Yeah.
If you've got stubborn dust, you can dampen the cloth with water, but never get the books wet.
Okay.
And never, ever use harsh chemicals or cleaning solutions.
Those could damage the books.
Exactly.
Should I be cleaning the pages of my book?
Unless you have specific training in book conservation, I would leave that to the professionals.
Okay, better to be safe than sorry.
Yeah.
What about repairing books myself? Are there things I can fix?
For those minor repairs, like small tears or loose pages, there are some DIY solutions.
Okay.
Acid-free book repair tape can mend small tears, and archival quality glue can reattach loose pages.
I've seen that clear tape at the store. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, but it's got to be acid-free archival quality. Don't use regular adhesive tape.
Why not?
It yellows and becomes brittle over time, and that can damage the pages.
Ah, so it's got to be the special kind
Right.
when I'm doing these repairs. Any other tips?
Work on a clean, flat surface
Okay,
and use a light touch.
got it. And when should I call in a professional?
If you have a book with a torn binding, significant water damage, or any sign of insects,
Oh, yeah.
it's time to call in the pros.
They have the special skills to fix those things.
Yeah.
What are some of those things that they do to fix them?
Well, they might use something called leaf casting to replace missing pages,
Wow.
or Japanese tissue mending to repair tears, or they might even resew the entire book to strengthen that binding.
That's incredible.
It really is. They're not just repairing books, they're preserving history, artistry knowledge.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And I think that leads into the emotional aspect of book care. It's not just about preserving the object, is it?
Not at all. Books are vessels of stories, knowledge, memories. They connect us to the past, present, future, and caring for them is a way of honoring those connections.
That's really nice. So it's about preserving the physical book, but also the stories and the emotions that they hold.
Exactly. And that legacy is built one careful page, turn one gentle dusting, one mindful moment of book care at a time.
That's beautiful. I think that's a perfect place to pause for now. We'll be back soon with more insights and tips for nurturing your beloved book collection.
Welcome back to Conversations About Bookbinding. Before the break, we were talking about those fragile books and how to protect them.
Yeah, those special ones.
Yeah.
And you mentioned archival quality boxes. What makes those boxes so special?
Well, archival quality boxes are like the ultimate protection for your books. They're made from acid-free materials, and they're often buffered with an alkaline substance
Okay.
to neutralize any acids that might form over time.
So they're fighting against deterioration.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they also create a barrier against light, dust changes, and humidity.
Oh, wow. So they're really protecting the books from the elements.
Exactly. It's like a little time capsule for those treasures.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
So we've covered the environment, shelving, storage. Now, what about everyday interaction with books?
Yeah.
How we handle them.
Yeah.
Are there things we should avoid?
Oh, absolutely. Even those small repeated actions can have a big impact over time.
Oh, like what?
Like using a thick bookmark can actually strain the spine, especially for paperbacks.
Mm-hmm.
And those sticky notes everyone loves,
Oh, yeah.
the adhesive can actually damage the pages and leave that sticky residue.
Oh, I am so guilty of both of those.
So instead of those thick bookmarks, try using a thin piece of ribbon
Okay.
or just a simple paper bookmark.
Yeah.
And if you really need to mark a page, a light pencil dot in the margin is much gentler.
Okay, those are great tips. What about dog-earing pages?
Well, some people might say it's a sign of a well-loved book,
Yeah.
but really it does cause damage.
Okay.
You're folding the paper repeatedly and weakening those fibers.
Oh, so it's more likely to tear them.
You-
Okay, no more dog-earing.
Oh,
So I've talked about that.
yeah.
What about dusting books? I've heard that's important. Is it really?
It is. Dust isn't just unsightly.
Yeah.
It can actually be abrasive,
Oh.
and it can attract pests.
Oh, no.
Yeah, who might decide to nibble on those pages?
Oh, no.
Right.
So dusting really is important.
It is. It really does create a cleaner environment for your books and prevents damage.
Okay. So like a little spa treatment for your books.
Exactly.
So when you are dusting your books,
Okay.
are there any special cloths or products that you should or shouldn't use?
A soft, dry cloth is usually all you need.
Okay.
For really stubborn dust, you can lightly dampen the cloth with water,
Mm-hmm.
but just make sure you don't get the books wet.
Okay.
And never use harsh chemicals or cleaning solutions on your books.
Got it. Should I be cleaning the pages of my books?
Unless you have specific training in book conservation, I would avoid cleaning the pages yourself.
Okay, so that's better left to the professionals.
Yeah.
What about book repairs? Are there any that I can do myself?
For those small repairs like little tears or loose pages, you can try some DIY solutions.
Okay, like what?
Well, acid-free book repair tape is good for those little tears.
Okay,
And archival quality glue can reattach loose pages.
I've seen that clear tape. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, but it needs to be acid-free archival quality.
Oh, okay, so not just any tape.
Right. Avoid using regular adhesive tape because it can yellow and become brittle.
Oh, and then that would damage the pages.
Exactly.
Okay, so are there any other tips for when I'm doing these repairs myself?
Well, make sure you're working on a clean, flat surface.
Oh, okay.
And always use a light touch.
Okay, I can do that.
Yeah.
Now, when should I call in the professionals?
Well, if you have a book with a torn binding,
Okay.
significant water damage, or any sign of insects,
Oh, yeah.
it's best to call in a professional.
They have the special skills to fix those things. What kind of things do they do to fix those problems?
Well, they might use something called leaf casting.
Leaf casting.
Yeah, to replace any missing pages. Or they might use Japanese tissue mending to repair tears. Or they might even resew the entire book to strengthen the binding.
Wow, those are some really specialized skills.
They are. They're not just repairing books. They're
Wow.
preserving history or artistry knowledge.
That's a really nice way to put it.
Yeah.
I think that leads nicely into the emotional aspect of book care.
Yeah.
It's not just about preserving the physical object, is it?
Not at all. Books are vessels of stories, knowledge memories.
Yeah.
They connect us to the past, present, and future. And caring for them is a way of honoring those connections.
That's beautiful. So it's about preserving the physical book, but also everything that it represents.
Exactly. And that legacy is built one careful page, turn one gentle dusting, one mindful moment of book care at a time.
That's a really beautiful way to think about it. And I think that's a perfect place to transition into our next topic,
Okay.
which is displaying and sharing our books. So we've talked about caring for our books, the environment, shelving, storage, handling, repairs. Now what about displaying them and sharing them with others?
Yeah. You know what good is a well-preserved book if its stories remain hidden?
Right, exactly.
Hmm.
But how do we share our love of books and still protect them? Especially those rare ones or those special editions. What about displaying them?
Well, it's tempting to put those special books out on display.
Oh, yeah.
But remember, direct sunlight is really a book's worst enemy. It fades those covers and makes the paper brittle.
So those like sun-drenched bookshelves that you see in magazines?
Yeah.
Probably not a good idea.
Not if you want to keep them in good shape.
Okay.
Indirect lighting or UV filtering film on your windows is a much better option.
Oh, that's a good idea. And what about loaning out our books? I love sharing books with friends and family,
Yeah, me too.
but I also get nervous about them getting damaged.
Oh, I totally understand. Lending a book is an act of trust.
It is.
But it's always a good idea to set a few ground rules.
Okay, like what?
Just encourage your borrowers to avoid eating or drinking while they're reading.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And remind them to handle the book with clean hands.
Good reminder. What about those people who dog ear pages
Oh, yeah.
or leave a book open face down? You know, those little things that can damage a book.
Right. Well, a little gentle education can go a long way.
Yeah.
You could explain to them, how those actions can damage the spine and the pages.
Yeah.
Remind them to use a bookmark.
Right.
Close the book properly when they're not using it.
So it's like turning our friends into little book caretakers.
Exactly.
Before we wrap up, I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier. The emotional side of book care. It's not just about the object itself, is it?
No, not at all. Books are vessels of stories, knowledge, memories. They connect us to the past, the present, and the future. And caring for them is a way of honoring those connections.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's about preserving not just the physical book, but the stories and emotions it holds.
Exactly. And that legacy, it's built one careful page turn at a time, one gentle dusting, one mindful moment of book care.
That's a great way to put it. So it's an act of love and respect
It is.
to make sure that these books are around for future generations.
Absolutely. And, the most important thing is to read, enjoy, and share the magic of books. Because a well-loved book is a well-lived book.
I love that. That's a perfect note to end on. So thank you to Edward Patrick Krantz for curating all the information for today's deep dive.
My pleasure.
And thank you to our listeners for joining us in Conversations About Bookbinding from Book Forge here in Erie, Pennsylvania. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into book care. Until next time, happy reading.